out and heading back to the baseball game. I apologize for pulling you guys away from it. I think they're up 6-0 right now. So if y'all are on that, I can help you out with that score. But really, just I want to thank you again for being here. And taking your time to be here today to help us as we get spring ball kicked off. Appreciate you covering the Arkansas Razorbacks, and it's very important to us that you guys are involved. It's very important to us that we start this thing out tomorrow on a right note as we start spring football and starting our second quarter phase. And so I'm going to share a little bit of things with you today that'll kind of help you out and help us all out as we're moving forward. Always like to talk about Razorbacks of our past and our present and our future. And I've opened an invitation up to all our Razorbacks of past, coaches, players. We want them to be a part. We want them to connect back to this program. They're open to come to practice anytime they so see fit. We want them around. We want them a part of this. Our Razorbacks of the present and future, in college football, you're always coaching two teams. And one, you're always the team you're trying to create. They're always recruiting. And two, the team you have. And obviously, I've been on the road a lot. I've literally spent more time, I believe, in the air than I have on the ground since I've been here, and because it's all been about recruiting. And now that we've been back off the road and having a chance to reconnect with our current players and to watch these guys and what they've been doing in our first quarter phase and trying to learn their name and them to learn me has been really good. It's been great progress. Focus, on our spring. My main focus is really, there's a few things here I want to talk about. It was really focus on just one day at a time. It's kind of the way that we operate. The way I operate around here is being the absolute best we can be just one day at a time. We always talk about, and people kind of get a chuckle when we talk about Hammer Down. And Hammer Down is our culture. And that's what we're about. And each letter of Hammer Down represents some form of our culture that we stand for. And the first one being the H is the Hogs First, Hogs Last. We're always talking about accountability. It starts with us and ends with us. So that's kind of what our focus has been through quarter one is on that Hogs First, Hogs Last. The accountability of these young men and what we're requiring them to do. And doing it one day at a time. The Hammer Down is our culture. It's a lifestyle. It's not just an event. It's not some fancy slogan for a shirt. It's the backbone of our program and how we do everything. And and sharing with our players, as we had a team meeting this morning. Nothing's promised in this spring, and nothing's going to be given to you. It's all going to be earned. And a big focus point for us is we got to focus on these young men. Becoming a champion before you win a championship. And how you do that is being the absolute best version of yourself every day. And we've strained a lot of our players over the last 6 to 7 weeks in this quarter one, and it's been good. It's been great to watch them. There's been zero resistance in our players, zero. They have welcomed this change with open arms. They've been apprehensive in some areas in our change. And just kind of skeptical because we've pushed them. And we talk to them all the time. If it doesn't challenge you, it's not going to change you. And we're going to challenge you every day. And so they've done a great job of that. There's 3 main things that I want to get out of spring when we come out of here and we meet again and at our closing after spring's over with and say, Coach, did you get these 3 things accomplished? Number 1 is we want to create some depth. We have to create depth and find out who can play. 1, we want to identify our best, or 2, we want to identify our best 11. Who are our best 11 on both sides of the ball and in special teams in each one of our battalions and our special teams units that we can depend on? So finding out identifying our best 11. And then 3, how we compete one play at a time with a one-play warrior mentality. And that's really it, I'm not asking a guy to go out there and play 80 snaps. I'm asking a guy to go out there and play one play 80 times or one play 40 times. And if a guy's a 35-play-a-game guy, then that's all he's going to get. We need him one play 35 times. And that needs to be the mentality for him. So that's learning how we do things in those 3 categories, creating depth, identify our best 11, and understand what it means to be a one-play warrior. Offensively, now we break that down into our three categories, our three units, our offense, our defense, and our special team. Offensively, two things I want to get out of it. One, I want to learn how to play razor fast. That's going to be a challenge to them. About period 3 tomorrow, it'll look like some of them have been hit in the face with a boat paddle because they would think it's period 23. And so there are 0 wasted seconds when that first horn blows tomorrow. So learn how we practice. Learn how to play fast. Learn how to be where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there, doing what you're supposed to do to the best of your ability. And 2, we want to understand just the basic concepts of our system, of our offense. You know, you may say, well, Coach, how much offense are you going to get in between now and the end of spring? And I don't know that. I can't answer that today. I can tell you this, I'm going to put in and get in what they can retain and do well. If that's 20%, then that's 20% of our offense. If it's 50%, it's 50%. We may not be at 80% of our offense or 100% of installing our entire offense. It may take us 2 years to get to that point, 1.5 years to get to that point. I don't know that. It makes no difference what I know or what the coaches know. It makes all the difference in what our players know and what they can execute. And that's really big. Defensively, 2 things I want to talk about there is I want them to learn how to play aggressive and be an attacking style defense with great technique, because that's who we're going to be. We're going to be an aggressive, attacking style defense, and there's a technique to doing it. The second thing I want defensively is I want to become a great tackling team. I want when people play us, when they finish playing us, right, wrong, and different, whatever that outcome of that scoreboard is, I want people to say, man, that team tackles extremely well. They do a great job of tackling. Well, how do you learn to tackle? You have to practice tackling. You have to be physical at practice. And so you're going to see some of that. I'm going to open up I believe it's the 10th, is a scrimmage. It'll be our first major scrimmage, and I'm going to open up that to our media to be there the whole time. And I'll get more details of that as we'll meet many times between now and then. But so you'll be able to see some of that. Are we going to be perfect on the 10th? Absolutely not. Are we going to be perfect tomorrow? No way. I hope not. I hope not. I hope I hope what it looks like on April 7th is completely different than what it looks like tomorrow. And it's a process in that regard. Special teams. You know, to be a specialist is to be elite. And that's the message that I want to convey to our football team as we go through our spring is I want people in the state of Arkansas, when they look to hire student athletes, they want to hire special teams guys first, because they understand what it takes. It may not be the most popular thing to be on, but we want to create an atmosphere around here that it's elite. And to be elite, you can be on those units. And so creating that mindset in special teams as we start that, and that'll start tomorrow, day 1. Actually, we've been starting on it with our special teams meetings as it's happened over the last week and a half. And then obviously when we play in this league, we all understand that special teams are going to determine the outcome of more than just one game. And so we want to be on the good end of that, so to speak. And how we do that is being the best we can be one day at a time in our special teams units and creating an atmosphere that's prideful. And all that is a mindset. And then just my daily message to our football team and what it has been and moving forward from spring is this. Just learn what it means to finish. That's probably said, Coach, what's been the biggest challenge since you've been here with it is learning, watching these guys start strong, okay in the middle, decent in our third quarter. Everything we do every day is breaking it down, but we've been unable to finish some drills. And so just stressing to our guys, learn what it means to finish. And finish is every time you come on the field. If we're running four reps with our ones and 4 with the 2s, when the 1s are done, they're sprinting off the field. But what does that mean to finish off the field? It means run through the white line. It doesn't mean stop at it. That doesn't mean that's the finish line. It means we're running through that line. So just finishing in the little things. Again, the little things all add up. And then 3, finish the rep. Talk about finishing the rep. Finish a meeting. Finish the drill. It's all about the finish. Everything we do is about the finish. And I can get anybody to come start a football practice. I can get anybody to come play a quarter of football. But can you play and sustain that energy and that excitement level the entire time and finish? So that's been the biggest thing. And then, You know, we just concluded our team competition. We've been doing a series once a week with our team competition, dividing them all up into to their different teams. And man, watching these guys finish that yesterday. Yesterday was our best day. And watching these guys finish, I want to build on that momentum that we've just closed off quarter number 1 as we opened up quarter 2 today. So we started our second quarter of our program today, and second quarter will take us all the way through spring ball. And so that's kind of the message that what we've been doing, what we've been focusing on, and then moving forward into spring. And with that, I'll open up for questions.
Wanting to have the best 11 by the end of spring, and I'm assuming that includes quarterback. Is that the goal, along with possibly having a full depth chart to carry over the summer to maybe help identify some of the leadership?
Yeah, you know, I hope so. I believe, and I believe we will. From what that I've seen to this point, you know, yeah, we're going to bring in, I think, 14 more guys are going to be coming in June. But for the most part, this is the football team that we're going to play with next year, right here. And, you know, this is the group that we have to develop, and we have to create a depth chart. And I'd like to now, does that mean it's not going to be, is it going to be perfect? No. But I think that we'll have a better understanding. I think we'll have a good understanding after the first scrimmage of kind of what direction we're going. Nothing will be set in stone. We come out of a spring break, and then we'll have a few more scrimmages. And then after spring, you know, I hope I'm able to come back into you and say that here's projecting a 2-deep depth chart. Here's where we are.
How long have the guys had playbooks, and what reasonable expectation do you have for the execution, the cleanness of the execution?
I think, and you guys will see some of this tomorrow. I think you'll come out tomorrow and you'll see. You'll see the same thing I saw when I got here. You'll see a hunger level. These guys are hungry now. Let me tell you, they're working their tail off, and they're extremely hungry. I know that they've, you know, the disappointment from last season and all that is just been in that rearview mirror, so to speak, to remind them. But they're hungry. They hear it. And so they've had install books. We don't have playbooks. We have install books. So they've had install books for going on about 2 weeks now, and they've started their meetings with their coaches, and that's been going for about a week and a half, and it's been really good. And really the impressive thing is, if you've seen a lot of guys, a whole lot of our team has came up here and did a lot of work on their own. I know that we're several groups having voluntary meetings that they were coming up and not having a coach led. I mean, you can pretty much put the video on and have your install book in front of you and talk it through right there with your unit. So yes, I'll be disappointed tomorrow when I walk off the field if I don't see that the crispness of a practice. I hope to see, and we'll have a bunch of high school coaches here tomorrow. I hope that when we walk off that practice field that these guys would look around and go, Coach, I would think that these guys have been with you guys for quite some time. I'll be disappointed if it's not, because we've talked about it as a staff. They understand my expectations of practice. We don't have expectations because you get what you inspect, not what you expect. And so we went through our expectations of practice. I don't know if that's a word. If it's not, it's a now one. But this is what we inspect, and because I'm going to watch it over and over and over. And so I'm excited, and these guys are too. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go 4-4-2 is usually the kind of way a 5-minute segment runs for us. We'll go 21 to 22 5-minute segments. Some segments are 7 minutes, some may be 6. Depends on what it is. We got a tackle circuit, it's 7 minutes. If it's a special teams, it may be 7 or 6. But for the most part, most of the practices are scripted in 5-minute segments. We want to run 10 plays in 5 minutes, and that's 4-4-2. And yeah, you know, we'll start off. Cole will start off getting our first reps. We call it a rack, first rack. And from there, I mean, Dalton will get in, and I mean, we'll rotate those guys through, and then, you know, what I want to do is, what is a quarterback going to be like when all of a sudden he's no longer getting the first rack or the second rack, but he's getting the third rack? Well, hey, I'm sorry, brother, you're getting 2 racks here. You're getting 2 plays. Now, how are you going to deal with it? Because I can promise you, there's going to be a time on a Saturday that things aren't going well. How do you deal with that too? So, changing that up. Who gets the first rack? Is there a definite starter? Absolutely not. So one practice, we may have this guy getting the first rack in this 5-minute segment. The next 5-minute segment, we may have somebody else getting the first rack. It's all going to flow, because what we want at the end is we want to see these guys, especially early on, that we know that these quarterbacks get. All right, he's had 85 snaps in the last 2 practices. He's had 75. He's had right around 68 snaps. Now we have a great gauge point. And then as spring goes, we'll start narrowing that down then and go, okay, hey, look, we're honing in on this probably is going to be our starter, and then we'll start settling him in with that first group. But right now, early on, it's really too much to tell on that.
Other than Coach, when you
Yes, sir.
look back at where you started with guys, and you said you wanted to focus on conditioning, do you think, I know some guys lose, some guys like, do you think you're a lighter team or a faster team?
Yeah. You know what? And that's a great question. I was talking to someone today that comes in and sees our players, not on an everyday basis, but they deal with them on a weekly basis, and talking about the overall flexibility of our kids has dramatically improved. They are leaned up. We've got guys that have lost 14 pounds, 15 pounds. For the most part, if you'd have looked at our weight, initial weigh-in of day 1 of quarter 1 to where we are today, there's a lot of guys that have cut some weight, and significant weight, 6 pounds, 5 pounds. And not only have they done that, but they've improved their eating habits. So they're turning, some that haven't lost weight, maybe they gain weight, they've gained good weight. And so that's been a huge emphasis for us, is our nutrition. So we'll find out tomorrow. Are we in better shape? I think you could ask those guys, and when y'all get a chance, and the ones you meet with, and ask them, are they in good shape? The ones that I've talked to, which I've talked to just about every one of them, they feel like they're in some of the best shape they've ever been in.
What are quarters 3 and 4 in the
Yeah. That's quarter 2, spring ball. Quarter 3 will take us from the end of spring into our final exams. And then they'll get a short break for final exams after finals, and that's still quarter 3. And that quarter 3 will take us all the way up until summer 2. When summer 2 starts, you're right around less than a month away from it starting, and it's fourth quarter time at that point. It's the final push. And so we structure the different ways that we train our players in each of those quarters, different emphasis. So there'll be a different motto. Right now, our motto in quarter 2 is one play warrior. We're going to teach these guys how to be a one play warrior, and then we'll move into quarter 3 and quarter 4, and we'll talk about that later.
Other than Barkley, is there any position switches that you can update us on?
Yeah, not really, not too many. Just from, when you talk about shifting from a 3-down to a 4-down front defensively, some of these guys that may be a jack backer or a backer that's been in a stand-up, he may be more of a rush in now. I don't foresee that too much as a position change as it is more of a defensive scheme change. But right now, today, no. Now there may be, as we continue to go, we moved some guys. May try a few things just from some depth chart issues, but nothing right now that would be permanent.
What would be your first center?
Our first center, looking at our center here as we start is just today, and the way we're doing this right now is doing it more by seniority than we are anything, because it's really hard to gauge outside of watching film. But Dylan Hayes will get a lot of reps there at the number 1 spot at center, and Ty Clary would be another one that would get some in there as well. But again, it's unfair to say, well, here's your 2 deep, because these guys we don't know.
That was kind of a void position.
Yeah.
in the year.
Yeah, and that's been something I know these guys have been really working on is that center at the shotgun position, shotgun snaps anyways. Yes, sir.
There's some guys who'll be limited, like Derek Quinley's coming back from the Achilles. Anybody who might not be able to go full road?
Yeah, we'll have a few. There'll be a few that we'll limit. You'll see the way we structure things out there. There'll be guys that are in yellow jerseys. If you're in yellow jerseys, that's a no practice. They'll be in what we consider the pit. The pit will be working with Coach True. You don't want to be in the pit. Coach True will be working. You'll work with him, and it'll be working on. If you got an ankle injury, then you'll be doing some upper body stuff with him. in training. But they'll be in yellow jerseys. They'll have helmets on, everything just like everybody else. If you're in a green jersey, green means you can practice, but it's a no contact at all. No contact if you're defense or offense. You can't touch a green jersey. Now he can go through. We want to try to get those guys that have been injured, get them on the field and limit them from getting hurt again. So and still be able to get those reps. So you'll see that. So that's the way we'll do our jersey system. Austin Capps will be a guy that right now will be limited. Actually, he'll be out for just a little bit. He's just got some issues that we're going with. He's had a surgery, but he'll be fine. Be back. Briston Guidry will be limited. He'll be limited early. Hope to get him back as we continue through spring, later on into spring. But most everybody else will be either green or full go.
I was going to ask about the injuries, but I will ask, was this kind of the blueprint you had at SMU when you came in terms of installation and how quickly you wanted to get things in?
Yeah, it was the same way when we were at Clemson, we were at Tulsa, we were at SMU. I mean, it's identical. I mean, you want to install it at a pace that's, because you have to learn it by concept, especially from an offensive standpoint. You got to learn it by concepts, and so we really like to run a 3-day install. So heavy day 1, heavy day 2, heavy day 3. Reevaluate where we are, maybe go back and install day 1 again, day 2, day 3. And then at that point you stop and this is all we're getting in. Let's see where we're at, and just go at their pace. I mean, again, and they'll pick it up once they get the terminology, which they've pretty much got. But the biggest challenge is, especially from an offensive standpoint, is what do you listen for? You can listen and look for a lot of things, or what just the things that pertain to you, and that's where they start deciphering and learn how to play fast.
Are there any of the guys who maybe played more of a wide open type of spread offense in high school who are going back to that and play as much of that you think might make it easier for them to?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think that they'll have a better understanding of what may be the way we practice and just the demands that it requires on you. But is it going to make it easier for them to grasp? I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
So what's the status with Chase Hayden and Jared Cornez?
Yeah, they're back, and Jared at wide receiver, and so I think that's right. That's what we've got there. Yeah, and Chase, they're all full go, ready to go.
Chloe missed the season.
Mm-hmm.
Is he?
He's back.
He's
Mm-hmm. He's back, and like I said, we may start him out in green, and transition him in to being on the field full time in live contact work.
Coach Craddock said something about when you got to SMU, there weren't any really tight ends per se. How do you envision that position at Arkansas? And like, will some of those guys, we see them running deep a lot and so forth?
Oh, you'll see him running deep a whole bunch, and hopefully we can get him the ball. That's the plan. So yeah, we did, and we had to make some roster moves when we got to SMU to get us like we wanted, and then we had to start recruiting to that position. Here we do have depth at tight end, which is exciting, and so I share with this. Matter of fact, I spent one of my days in the tight end room the other day and talking to them about just the importance of that position, and not just the importance, but the kind of some of the technicality of playing that position. Outside of the quarterback, that's the hardest position on this football team to play offensively, because there's so many moving parts, and you have to be on your game. You got to be able to attach, you got to be able to unattach, and so you'll be able to not only just pass protect in the backfield, but you got to be able to get out and be mismatched on a linebacker, running rail routes. And so there's a lot of memory work that these guys have to have. And so and the great thing about it is, for us to play fast, you've got to have that guy that can. How do you play him? As a defensive coach, how do I play that guy? Do I play him as a true on-the-line tight end? And if I do, then I bring in a linebacker. And when we see that, then okay, now's our chance to create that mismatch on that linebacker. Can a linebacker carry him vertical? Can he carry him on a rail route? Can he play him on option routes? Then all of a sudden you start looking, well, I'm going to play him as a nickel. I'm going to bring another nickel in here. Well, when that happens, then we motion him back in the backfield. Do you attach him? You start getting into your run game. So those guys are very vital to us.
Coach, when you picked out when you would start
Mhm.
start, and does it enable you some recruiting time at the end?
It does, and that's really kind of what it hit on mainly, because I want to be able to, when we come out of spring, we'll have spring practice, our spring game on the 7th. We'll have 2 practices after that to show them how we want to work our summer skills and drills. And then from there, I want to be able to have quality exit meetings with these guys, and with their position coaches, with their coordinator, and now then with me, and so they know exactly where they stand coming out of spring, and it gives us about 3.5 weeks of good, solid, getting a jump start on third quarter training in our weight room. And you know, obviously, if you get a kid that may have an injury, it gives them a chance to get a little longer to get healthy. I've enjoyed starting spring early like this. I think it's quick. It changes the tempo of how we're running our system. I mean, they've been in this now for 6 weeks, and bang, we're going to something else instead of, you know, carrying this thing out 4 more weeks. Yes, sir.
The last Latino kicker that we have was Alex Tejada, and it's been a few years, coming from Texas. How long before we can see, if not a Latino kicker, but someone that the Latino community identify with the Razorback?
Yeah, you know what, and that's you know, a great point there. You know, right now we have 1 specialist on scholarship. We're going to get to a point to where, you know, you hope to have 2 and maybe even 3. We actually had 4 specialists on scholarship at SMU. Now, I don't so much agree that we need to have 4, but I definitely think we can grow that number over time. And obviously, you know, from a, you know, you don't realize how valuable those kickers are till you don't have one. And so to be able to get those guys and bring them into our program, you know, we're having a specialist kicking camp. You know, we really partner up with all these different kicking you know, camps that happen all over the country, and just trying to get, you know, great data. And that's the one thing I do know. If you do have a scholarship to offer, you got a chance to go get a great kicker. Now, one thing that's very appealing about the University of Arkansas is we get some quality walk-ons. And we're actually having a walk-on tryout tomorrow. And so I haven't quite seen the roster of who we got coming out, but you know, I do know there's several kickers that are on that. So we definitely want to be wide open to invite anybody out for that. So.
Couple more. But getting them on the field for practice, how important is that in terms of just relationship building? I know the on-the-field stuff is important, but as far as getting to know these kids and then really getting to know you.
Yeah, I think it's just being around them every day. I mean, that's probably more the excitement that I have right now, is being able to be around them, and now being back off the road from recruiting, and you know, we've been in there with them in their 6 a.m. runs, and just getting to know them. And I've challenged our staff just to get to know something besides football. I mean, don't just ask them questions about football. Get something, you know about these guys, know about their home life, know about their families. What are they studying? What do they want to do? And so what I've challenged our guys as we go through flex, you'll see our offensive staff congregate over to the defensive side and watching the defense and talking, learn 3 defensive guys. Learn their first and last name and a little bit about 3 of them every day. If you do that, man, you've pretty much learned the majority of our team over the next several weeks. And I'm challenging myself with that. I mean, I've got a deal in my office that I've got every player's picture and where he's from and his name, and that's important to me, to be able to walk into a room and identify, put a name with a face and something about his family. And so, you know, that's you know, it's all about relationships. Everything we talk about around here is relationships, and for them to get to know me and me get to know them. But it also takes time. I do know that as well. Yes, sir.
On the schedule, you have 14 practices, but you can have 15, right? Is there one you're waiting to decide on?
It'll be after, and really we put that on there because of, you know, that really went out to all our high school coaches. And so that last practice there will be a modified light practice. And so we kind of left it open to our high school coaches. If you want to come, you're going to see about a 45-minute practice there. But that's kind of to fine tune the details of summer work. That's why that's on there.
Well, I mean, I just counted 14 days of practice. I didn't know if there's 15. You just wait for the schedule.
That's you're talking about which one you counted on our.
So you have the red, white game, and then you have another one listed.
And then the next one, the one you counted, that graphic that you counted, you're talking about the one that had the red blocks in it? Yeah, the one that's not counted on there is that Wednesday. No, not right now.
Coach, when you're doing film study with these guys, especially offensively, how much are you using SMU film compared to what you're gonna be doing in spring workouts?
We're a lot, a whole lot. You see, when our guys are going through and watching install cut-ups, from an offensive standpoint, you're seeing a lot of SMU, you're seeing a lot of Clemson. There's some Tulsa in there. I mean, from all of our stops you're seeing. So, yeah. Anyone else? All right. You bet. No, thank y'all for coming, and look forward to it. And I know we'll get back together tomorrow after our practice. And is that right, Brandon? And then Saturday as well. We're actually going to hook it up a little bit Saturday, so it'll be a fun start. And on the 10th, we'll open it all up. So thank y'all for coming. I really appreciate you. Thank you.